Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Marriage is Tougher Than Woodpecker Lips podcast. This is Bryan, joined by my co-host, Paul. We'd like to welcome you to a community meant for the men of the world to share their thoughts and perspectives on marriage. We can learn from each other's experiences and help each other be better husbands. This week on the pod, we want to talk to you about she's not the problem. Instead, there is a problem that we as a couple need to tackle.
Right, and before we get all the way to the episode, we just wanted to welcome you. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've been rocking with us for a while, welcome back. We thank you for taking time out to rock with us. If you'd like to go deeper in this conversation or it hits you in any way, just search Marriage is Tougher on any social media channel and hit us up in the DMs to reach out, or you can go to marriageistougher.com, which is our website, hit the contact form, and leave your comment there or your feedback there. If you'd like to be a guest, do the same thing, hit that contact form, leave us your information, what you'd like to talk about, and then reach out and set up how we can get you on the show. We really appreciate you and your support. Now let's get into it.
You know what's funny? I almost felt like saying, she's not the problem, you're the problem. But it goes both ways, right? We get into situations in marriage where there is a problem. And I think from our past, it becomes very easy to try to appoint blame in any scenario.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to ask, what's your experience in coaching couples through this to make that shift from putting the marriage first? And I kind of want to talk about how do conversations shift from, saying you did this and made me feel this way, to using I statements, and how do we tackle this going forward, or how do we improve this situation going forward?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think our experience is that it's an enlightenment moment. Because a lot of times in our culture, it's a lot of selfishness, and not in necessarily a bad way. It's two people coming together that have been looking out for self, right? And so having to realize just because there's a problem and you don't see it as your issue doesn't mean it's necessarily the other person's fault.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other person's intention, or they're not out here trying to get you. So it's coming to the fact of like, okay, there is just an issue, not the person. The other person is the issue. And I think that's a lot of like, oh, okay, it softens a lot of deliveries. It opens up for more humility and more, what's the word I'm looking for? Just more discussion, and not a lot of like definite, you do this, you do blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, so how can we do this? So it brings some togetherness as well. And once they get it, now it can take a little while to be like, okay, let's play this out. This scenario. Is this really him? Or is this just either a person or a thing or something that's outside of the marriage, or outside of the couple? So it's enlightening, it's rewarding, and it's freeing and empowering to realize that you don't have to come against the person that you love.
Mm-hmm.
It's how do we connect together, and then we tackle the issue as one, not separated.
It does. It does. I'm sitting here thinking about, we use a lot of sports references, right? And so we understand in most cases when we play sports that it's typically a team atmosphere. And I feel like we do a better job of holding our teammates up and thinking of solution rather than pointing the finger, right? Like, oh, you blew up that play, da 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 da, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, all right, hey, let's get them next time, right? And then we go back, maybe watch some film and say, oh, okay, here's what happened. What do we need to do? What do we need to train
Mhm.
in order to be better next time and not let that happen? But then it comes to relationship and it's like, yo, you did this. You made me feel this way.
Mhm.
Fix it. Right.
Yeah, I think just when you say that, first of all, let's just say feelings are fine.
Mm,
Feelings are great. How you react to those feelings and how you respond can be troublesome. But also, and I dare say, feelings are a choice, right?
mm,
The initial feeling is always there. That's fine. But it's up to you to either stew in that feeling or acknowledge what it is, acknowledge that it's an indicator for something, and then dive deeper into the what did it indicate, not what the feeling is. Especially it comes with things like being frustrated or upset. It's fine that you feel that way, but what's the reason that is there? And let's talk about the reason, not so much how it makes you feel. I think the whole conversation is good, but let's focus on solutionizing. I just made that word up, I think.
all good.
And going there, feelings are definitely indicators, so we should have them and we should acknowledge them. But we can't stay all day in our feelings because then things don't get done. And if you start to go down, maybe this is just me. If you start to go down a rabbit hole of feeling a certain way, you can now start justifying or seeing a whole bunch of different negative things and start bringing them all into your feelings instead of this one specific incident or area that you can knock out. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, that's fair. I'm thinking, how scary would it be to actually have marriage game film?
Terrifying. The big eye in the sky don't lie, and I don't want that smoke.
Right? Like, just
But it
imagine
would be so
hashing out,
good.
but
It would be so good.
imagine hashing out, you said this on this date. I'm like, that's not how I remember it. Let's replay the game film. Like, oh, that's specifically what I said. You're
Mm,
right. Sorry.
Man, that's
There
that.
might be some quicker apologies out there.
What's that challenge flag commercial? Remember those commercials where
Yeah,
they
yeah,
throw the flag and they see the tape? That's real. I mean, I think there would be a lot of growth. You'd have to be okay with it, though. You know what I mean? I think for me, it's terrifying. I'll just put that out there.
yeah.
But you could grow so much because literally just don't remember things. Like if it doesn't matter, I'm just like, what are you talking about? It like I guess I'll go with that because you tend to remember more than I do. Um, so okay, let's move on. But I think to see myself in that, because even when if things are brought up and then like the memory comes back, so I'm like, oh crap, like that is how I responded, and that
Mhm.
wasn't so great. So I think having film removes any type of feeling against my wife in that situation, right? It's just like, okay, this is what it is. Um,
Yeah,
so it'd be growth. I mean, just like when you use film in real life, like if you use it for the betterment, then you
right.
grow so much, and you're ready for when the situation comes again, and you know your tendencies, and so you'd be able to see. I think our wife is the best mirror to let us know how we tend to respond to situations, right? So the
Mhm.
tendencies of our normal rhythms. So having that film would show us, okay, when this happens in this way, this is how you tend to respond. And then it's like, oh, I should probably not do that, or I should do this differently. So it'd be terrifying, but I think it'd be good in the end.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that. I'm now thinking, how do we get to the place where we're open to and willing to review what happened, right? Like, obviously there's no film, but I think it's such a healthy place to come from the stance of, all right, well, let's sit down together and recollect what happened from each other's perspective. Um, and then really just be opening to listen first, right? Because how I'm envisioning this is if I truly care for how my wife is feeling in the moment and I ask something along the lines of, okay, how did you hear what I said? Giving her the opportunity to have that response informs how I communicate in the future, right? And not using it as a divisive tool, right? But it helps it helps the relationship. It helps me communicate in a way that I now know that she can hear me, and it helps me not hurt her with my words. Um, it helps us get into resolution more quickly, right? Um, and it helps us not get into that situation in the first place. So, do you recommend or do you have any tips on how do we watch game film in marriage?
Yeah, I think it's like you said, I think it's being open to a memory,
Mm,
right? Being open to something not hitting the way you thought it would, right? Because sometimes we think we've thought it through, we're going to say it this way, it's going to be great. And then when it comes down to it, either our tone sucks, our
mm,
face looks different, our body doesn't give off what we're trying to say. And so even if we say it exactly like that, it doesn't come off the same way. So we have to be open that it's not received, or we have to be open that it's received differently than we wanted it to be. I
yeah.
think that's the first step. Um, you have to be open to having those conversations outside of a situation, right? Because then you can be more open to hearing what's happening, but also you can be more open to communicating what your intent was as well. So you can get a lot better feedback. So be open to it not hitting like you want it to, and try to find a time to have a conversation that's not in the middle of a situation so that you can be more open. Um, I think it's giving your spouse freedom to speak freely on that topic.
Mhm.
Obviously, not abusively, but freely, and be receptive. Like, just know that you don't know everything, and know that you haven't planned for everything because they're a whole different human, and your intent is normally good, but your delivery doesn't always match your intent. Now, sometimes it does, but for me, a lot of times it doesn't. Um, and I think finally, you can do some research on your own, right? Talk to your friends, talk to family, people that know you about how you respond or how you communicate. Not and don't even involve your spouse. Just ask them how you communicate with them. You
Mm,
know, if you've had hard conversations, was it easy for them to understand you? Were you giving off like um, an open demeanor where they could, give feedback? Do you seem receptive to feedback? All those things, because then they'll give you like the real too. Um, so I think those would be a couple things that you can do to watch game film or to really evaluate how you um, respond and communicate in those times.
I really like that. I think I've got some friends in my life that would be really honest. Um, but I also think that I might not always like the answers that I got. Right?
True.
Like I might receive from some people, um, case in point, like my mother, um, she told me at one point that I can be harsh with my words. and I hurt feelings sometimes because I'm, like, too honest, right? So there's a balance about being honest and how you're communicating that honesty, right? And, like, for
Right.
me, I think my preference is bluntness, um, but again, it goes back to how are you communicating what you need to communicate? There are levels to it, and your your desire for bluntness, I don't wanna say need for bluntness, your desire for bluntness can likely be softened,
Mhm.
right? Just by using some different words. Uh, so I think working on those tools is certainly helpful. Um, I'm trying to think of an example right now, but um, let me think here for a second. If I were to tell my child that they are needing to do their homework, so let's set that scenario, right? Um, because I think this has happened before where I walk in and my kid's sitting there on the couch eating a snack or whatever, and I'm like, "Hey, did you do your homework?" And they're like, "No, not yet." And rather than flying off the handle, I'm like, "Every time I come in here," right?
Right.
uh, it could be asking the question, "Hey, what are you supposed to be doing right now?" And I'm sure if you're a parent, you've seen this before. My homework, right?
Right. Right.
So you don't have to have that mean tone behind it. You don't have to have like, "Oh, you're in trouble," and all that, right? It's
Mhm.
kids know, right? Um, and and I'm thinking maybe those situations aren't on the same level, obviously, but it's just an example of how we can change the way we communicate to still get our point across.
Yeah,
But
your tone and asking questions applies across the board, whether
mhm,
it's to kids or not. So if you're not normally one to ask questions or your tone sucks, then you could think about how can I switch this? Even dial it back a little bit. Obviously, I think we'd like it to be dialed back quickly, but that's not always the case. You have to kind of sometimes grow into, a tone change, or not using sarcasm as a tool. Like
mhm,
sometimes the tools that we've used forever don't work anymore. So, you know, instead of, right, you're like, oh, my axe is dull. Let me sharpen this sarcasm axe. No, don't do that. Just get a different tool, man. Get a chainsaw. It's a lot easier. You know what I mean? Like, so just get a different tool that's more effective and quicker, which would be a soft tone and asking questions.
yeah. Have you ever been in a situation where you didn't realize you were being sarcastic because you're just so used to it?
Oh, I'm still struggling with that right now.
Mm.
Like, yes, I'm just like, oh, that was wild.
Right.
Oh, but I mean, and again, it's like kids are the best indicator. They just parrot it back, and you're like, I don't like how that sounds coming out of your little mouth, but it's exactly what I would say.
Yeah,
So I probably need to change.
yeah. I'm hearing a lot of that lately.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
oh, man. Who taught you that?
right. So I learned it from you, Dad.
Mm,
Um, so yeah, I think it's being okay with changing your tools and trying to figure out, is my approach what's best for my marriage right now? Because marriage changes, relationships change,
mhm,
and sometimes sarcasm and being more light about things works early on in a marriage where things aren't as serious, right? You trying to figure out your career, your, you know, you don't have a house, mortgages, all that stuff. You haven't, trying to tackle these heavy things. But 10 years down the line, we're not getting any sleep because you have a new baby and you got a mortgage and a couple car notes and your finances aren't where you thought it would be. Sarcasm may not be the communication of choice all the time, right?
Yeah.
So different stages of life can breed different communications. Um, and sometimes there's just a growth element that we have to do. And we have to figure out when and how to communicate the way that we choose. Uh, and that will work out.
And what's that saying? The things that kept you safe as a kid will kill your current relationship.
I
I
don't
think
know what that's saying, but that sounds accurate.
yeah, for sure. And I'm thinking, right, like sarcasm can often be used as a defensive tool.
Mhm.
Um, and in that light, I'm thinking beware of the communication patterns that you create,
That's
right?
good.
Like, especially to your point, starting early in marriage, right? Like, it seems that some types of communication can be acceptable because we're still trying to figure this all out. But if we lean too heavily into something like that, that can turn up not being healthy, you find out pretty quickly, like, oh, I don't know how to communicate this in a manner that's healthy, right?
Right.
Like we keep
Uh,
ending up here in this place,
Man, that part is you don't even know that you don't know,
right?
right? Until it's there and you're like, "Wait a minute." Or you see it modeled and you're like, "Wait, that's how you can say that? Or that's how
Yeah.
you can convey that?" If you've always communicated a certain way. And don't get me wrong, I'm saying this, some couples, sarcasm is their thing of choice, and it works, and no one's feelings really catch feelings, and that's
Mhm,
fine. But in my experience, because there's generally some type of truth around sarcasm, and if the receiver of that is feeling some type of way on that day, then it can go bad quickly.
yeah,
So for heavier topics or more important communication, sarcasm may not be the tool that you use. Um, and again, like you said, sometimes it's like I didn't even know how to communicate that in a way that's not jokey or sarcasmy. Um,
right,
and you have to be okay with being uncomfortable and not knowing.
right.
And if you have that type of relationship, you can preface with this. Like, normally I'd say this way, but I'm trying to work on communicating more clear and being more kind in how I communicate. So I'm going to try this to make it fall flat. It may feel disingenuous because I'm trying to figure out how to say this, but I need to say this. And then you just say it. And at least at least your spouse knows that you're trying and kind of what's going on in your brain as your heart is not to feel fake.
Mhm,
But sometimes it can feel fake because it's not your default, but it's still 100% true.
yeah. One thing I've been doing more of lately is asking how my wife needs to hear or how would she prefer to hear something communicated, um, to be able to best receive it, and that has been very helpful.
What's that is a great tool, but how do you actually walk that out? Like, is that in the middle of something, or is that, like, prepping to have the conversation? And, like, how do you respond to what she says? In my mind, I'm trying to think of, like, okay, if she tells me she needs to hear it this way, can I even give that?
Right. Um, so I think it's happened in a couple different ways. Typically, it's we get into a scenario that is recurring. Um, you know, going back to the sarcasm, right? Like if that has been my go-to, and so I've got a lot of thoughts going on. Let me put them together for a moment. What I so where this came from is my initial thought is don't be afraid to early and often say, I don't like when you communicate in that manner,
Mhm.
right? So that can help get you to the space that I'm trying to get to right now, which is okay, how can I best communicate this to you? Or how would you prefer to hear me say what I just said in a manner that's going to allow you to hear it, hear my heart in it,
Mhm.
and allow us to move forward, right? Um, my wife might say to me, I would prefer for you to tell me how you're feeling and follow that with how it affected you, right? So um, it could be, hey, I'm feeling hurt right now by what you said. And in thinking about it, it has made me a bit angry in the moment, right? And I don't want to be angry with you. Is there a way for you to reword what you said? Right. So that takes a lot of grace and patience to even be able to formulate that, especially if you were just hurt.
Mhm.
Um, but on the other end, if I was just like, yo, why would you say something like that to me? Right. Like
Mhm.
that's not productive at all.
It's not. I see that blowing up quickly.
Right. That offers no grace. Um, and it very much reduces the space for resolution. So if going back to what we said earlier, right? Like she's not the problem, but there is a problem that we need to tackle together. So I'm keeping that mindset and I'm like, ooh, wow, I don't like what she just said there. Um, let me communicate that. Hey, I didn't like that. Is that how you intended for that to come across? Which I think we've done on the pod before.
Mhm.
Um, is there a way for you to restate that? After hearing her response, I'm thinking, um, I kind of went off on a tangent here, but I'm thinking that I want to know that we're both on the same page as far as trying to tackle a problem together. So I think
Yeah,
just
I think. Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was saying that was a great example of kind of what you're saying and what the topic of this episode is. So at that point, you're saying you're not the problem. What the problem was, uh, how basically what was said or the tone is an issue. It's
Mhm,
not you, wife, and it's not even really what you said. It's just how it was communicated. So
mhm,
I'm not gonna say, just like you said, why would you say blah blah blah? It's more like, okay, I just heard this. This is how I'm feeling. Is there a different way that this could be said? Right. And it's more what was said and the tone of what was said, not you, the person, are evil because you said these things. And if you can phrase it like that, um, then that can help your mind shift away from your spouse being the issue then. Because, oh, it's just a tone thing. Like, we're just working on how to, like, the tone that we talk to each other in.
mhm.
Right. You see how that's different than, I hate how she speaks to me. She's rude.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
no, we're working on sarcasm, like how to not be sarcastic, or or we're trying to figure out, you know, the best way to get groceries in our house,
Mhm.
right? Not, some one person always goes or they get the wrong thing every time or blah blah blah. It's like, okay, what's the best way to get groceries in,
Yeah.
right? Um, or we're trying to figure out the best way to communicate to our kids' teachers. right? Not you always blow. You're never at the meeting and blah blah blah. Okay, well, you know, I also do work full time, so it's hard for me to get to these things. But let's figure out how we can best do it, right? So it's just different things that come up. Look at the topic, not the person, and don't be so accusatory. Like we talked about
Mhm.
earlier, ask questions, um, and be open to a new way of communication. Don't If something has always not worked, let's not keep doing it.
That part. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah. I think for me, I need to be better at realizing the feeling that I'm having in a moment and being okay with like literally verbalizing, I don't like how that feels. Right. Um,
No, I don't want to do that. That's terrible. That's way. Oh, that's so real and so much work and so against everything I feel like I should do. But it's real. Like that is what needs to be done. I'm just telling you how I feel about what you just said, and that
right.
feels horrible.
But to your point, let's not keep doing what we've been doing if it's not
Correct.
working.
Correct. Yeah.
And so I just came to that realization like, wow, I need to tell my wife that hurt me. I know I'm this man that's not supposed to have feelings and get hurt, but I'm hurt.
I think
Let's walk through this.
yeah, I mean, I think the worst thing that I ever want to be is needy and uh easily offended, right? Or easily
Mhm,
like in my feelings. Like that's the worst because that's not a person I want to hang out with. So like
mhm,
I don't want to be that person. So I think for me, admitting my feelings could make me feel like I'm that person.
mhm,
And so I don't want to be someone that's like a emotional suck, right? The person
mhm.
that, they're always feeling something. They're always, you know, have some type of feeling about something and blah blah blah. Like I don't want to be that. And I think because of that I go so the opposite. Like I just don't have feelings at this point because I
But
don't
you
want to
do.
be that person.
But
So
you do.
correct. Correct.
And why is our culture perpetuating this "get out your feelings" statement? Why is that
Because because we're still working out how to responsibly respond to our feelings.
yeah, we don't know how to receive other
Yeah.
people's feelings.
Yeah. We have not stewarded that space well. So we don't know how to one receive people's feelings, but also um report our own feelings.
Mhm,
So because we can't just leave, I think it's because we don't know how to receive them. Like we internalize them, we personalize them, we take them as our fault.
that
And
part.
so we have that false responsibility whenever someone shares their feelings. We take it on ourselves instead of just letting them be what they are and moving on. So then we can't, and then because of that, for me, I don't share my feelings. So also, if you don't do something, you're not good at it. So I'm
Mhm,
not good at expressing my feelings. Yeah, I've improved, but I don't feel like I'm good at it or I'm not comfortable. So then it's awkward and it's weird or it's not said right. So there's that two-sided. We don't know how to receive and we don't know how to communicate. And so I think that's why we want everyone to get our feelings. And then also there's people that abuse that and they feel like feelings is their God and that's what, if I feel it, I'm doing this and blah blah blah. And they justify things with their feelings,
right.
which is wrong. Just putting it out there, it's wrong. Don't do it. It's annoying. Um, so there's those many sides to the why, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. Alright, man, we went way over time, but, I think it was a needed conversation. I think it put some clarity around a recent, conversation I had with my wife, and I'm thankful for it because I think it informs, like we said earlier, how to move forward. Anytime you have these types of conversations, you have no choice but to be aware of when those things happen, and then you afford yourself the chance to behave differently. So, thank you for this conversation.
Man, I appreciate it. Always afford yourself the chance to move forward and be better.
Mhm.
So we appreciate you guys rocking with us. If you made it to the end of this episode, it's gone longer than our normal, but we appreciate that. If you have any comments, search Marriage is Tougher on any social media channel. Hit us up in the DMs, leave us what your thoughts are. Or you can go straight to marriagestough.com, hit the contact form, leave us your contact, your comments there. If you'd like to be a guest, hit that same form, leave us your information, and we'll reach out to you and figure out how we can get you on the show. We really appreciate everyone. Thanks for pulling up to our conversations. And until next time, we'll chat later.
Peace.